Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. So, we are studying the Bhagavad Gita, the 13th chapter. And before I forget, we're going to skip one class next week. I'm going to Boston to give a talk at the Sai Center there on Saturday, but I'll leave on Friday, so we'll miss one class, the next one. But then again, we'll resume in the week after that. 13th chapter, we are doing the practices for enlightenment. 20 practices have been listed by Krishna. So let's chant those 20. Those of you like, you can chant after me. Amanitvam adambhitvam, amanitvam adambhitvam, ahimsa kshantirajyavam, ahimsa kshantirajyavam, acharyopasanam shaucham, acharyopasanam shaucham, स्थैर्यम् आत्मविनिग्रह स्थैर्यम् आत्मविनिग्रह इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहङ्कार एव च अनहङ्कार एव च जन्म मृत्यु जरा व्याधि जन्म मृत्यु जरा व्याधि दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम् दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम् असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्ग असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्ग पुत्रदारगृहादिषु पुत्रदारगृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् नित्यं च इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् अरतिर्जनसंसदि अरतिर्जनसंसदि adhyātma-jñāna-nityatvaṁ adhyātma-jñāna-nityatvaṁ tattva-jñānārtha-darśhanam tattva-jñānārtha-darśhanam etaj jñānam iti proktam etaj-jñānam iti proktam ajñānam yadato-nyathā ajñānam yadato-nyathā. Let me read out the translations. Humility, unostentatiousness, harmlessness, forbearance, uprightness, service to the Guru, purity, steadiness, self-control, dispassion for sense objects, and absence of egoism, seeing misery and evil in birth, death, old age and sickness, non-attachment and non-identification with son, wife, home, etc., always being even-minded, whether good or evil befalls, unswerving devotion to me through the yoga of non-separation, resorting to solitude and aversion for company, always being devoted to spiritual knowledge, perception of the aim of the knowledge of truth. All this is called knowledge. What is different from this is ignorance. So, a long list, and it might feel like a long, dreary list. There's so much to do. Not really. If we think about it, many of these capacities, virtues, I prefer to call them practices. But practice is an action word. If you say these are qualities, we might as well say, oh, I don't have these qualities, so I'm not going to get enlightened. Now, we can do something about each one of them. They are actually action words. We already have these in some measure. I'll say a little more about that. They're all tied together. As we progress in spiritual life, even if you're not practicing them consciously, you will find these things are coming into our lives. Now, one word about this. In the 10th verse, we did this. Resorting to solitude and a dislike for crowds. Vivikta desha sevitvam. There are deeper interpretations. I'm not going into that. Just as a kind of indication, the line of thought one can pursue. Solitude, the word used for solitude here is vivikta desha. The Sanskrit word desha means place. Vivikta means separated. So a separated place would mean solitude, that's fine. And resorting to solitude, it's fine. Sri Ramakrishna also says, when people used to ask him, what's the way for us? Simple instructions. He would say, one of the things he would say is, go into solitude once in a while. It could be a meditation retreat or just a solitary place, just by being yourself, stepping away from society and everybody and everything. Once for a day or 2 days or 3 days, just for a short while. And then coming back to it again. So yes, vivikta desha. But a deeper meaning, vivikta, separation, it comes from the root vivich, to separate two things. And then you can see the word viveka, for example, comes from the same root. So it runs very deep, this idea, resorting to what solitude? And the solitude not only of being physically apart from others, but solitude of stepping back from activities, separation from activities, solitude of stepping back from emotions and thoughts. What seems to be us, it's not us. My thoughts, this separation from one's opinions, one's cherished beliefs, one's cherished grudges and lists of complaints, and step back from all of it into our real nature as this one consciousness. And then you notice, take a look, no problem is left anymore. Every problem comes with what we associate ourselves with. Out there, in here. But if you step back into your real nature as the witness consciousness, no problem at all. And then when you come back again into the world, come on up here. There are places, just raise your hand if you have a seat next to yourself. Yeah. Yes. And then when we come back into the world again, back into the crowd again, who is coming back into the crowd? It is that same problem-free consciousness, the knower of the field. You are problem-free, we are problem-free by ourselves, by our very nature. So when we come back into the field of action, into relationships again, notice we continue to be that problem-free consciousness. Even in the midst of apparent problems. I just leave you with that. That's homework to think about it. That is the deeper meaning of resorting to solitude. The Ashtavakra says, the enlightened one enjoys utter solitude in the midst of huge crowds. Why? Because there is only solitude means one only, solitary. In the midst of a huge crowd, are you alienated? Are you feeling lonely or depressed? No. You see only one consciousness. Only that one consciousness, only I am in all these forms. Suppose in your dreams, you walk into a theater or an auditorium with 1,000 people. How many are there actually? Is it 1,001? There are 1,000 people and there's one more here? No, there's only one. Similarly, in the midst of a huge crowd also, you're not lonely. That's why when it says, arati jana sansadi, the next one, practice, a dislike for crowds, for company. What it means here, of course, the first preliminary takeaway from it is that people who cannot bear to be by themselves. There are more and more such people. Somebody said that, I love being by myself. Yes, by yourself means you're continuously scrolling on your phone with hundreds of people on social media. That's not being by yourself. Put that thing away. So be by yourself means that introversion is important. That inability to be by myself. Somebody pointed out the reason I don't like being by myself is when I am myself, whose company do I have? My own company. Now, if I do not like my own company, why should anybody like my company? I don't like my own company. And that means that's why I can't be solitary. Then why should anybody like my company? So, spirituality is possible when, in fact, psychological health also demands, an integrated personality also demands the ability to be by yourself. What we can do with our own privacy, what we do with our own free time. That shows psychological health. On the other hand, the comment I wanted to make here is, for example, someone like Sri Ramakrishna, he would be delighted at crowds. Why? Why? Not that he had anything to do with anybody in the crowd. Rather, he would go into a semi-ecstatic trance by seeing that one consciousness shining in thousands and thousands of people. It doesn't even have to be a religious crowd. It could just be a marketplace or something. He would delight. He would say, bravo, bravo, wonderful, this is wonderful. And he gave a very, very evocative comparison of a crowd. To him, he said, a crowd looks like a chandelier. At that time, the British were already in Calcutta. That was the capital of the British Empire. So they had, in their homes, they had chandeliers. And you know what a chandelier is? There's a light, there's a central light, and there are thousands of or hundreds of pieces of crystal or glass which reflect that light. So the central sun is God, or that one divinity, or that one consciousness, existence consciousness place. But you see it here. You see it shining in all these eyes. For the enlightened one, that's the beauty of people. They don't care for what kind of person you are. I've seen senior monks, Swamijis. There's a thing which I'm beginning to appreciate as I grow older, is their utter unconcern for our readings of people. No, that person is so bad. Why aren't you mad at that person? Don't you see how awful that person is? And the senior Swami doesn't seem to see it. You'd say it's all right. And rather they delight in something deeper. Even in that annoying person, even in that irritating person, what they see is not the annoying trait. What they see is not that irritating personality. What they see is not even that behavior. Even if it's directed against them, they are incredibly patient. Why? Because they're seeing something deeper. That one blazing light flashing in through that irritating behavior. That's the light. That's how it's being reflected there. So like a huge chandelier blazing with light. Here it is, the chandelier of thousands of people, of a crowd of thousands and tens of thousands, which might seem unbearable to us sometimes. Too many people, too much happening. Especially if you go to India. I heard about our main monastery there in winter, in the end of December, January. It's very crowded because it's a holiday season, plus it's also there are some spiritually significant days, and tourists also. It's pleasant. But Calcutta at other times is not pleasant. In winter it's pleasant. So the monastery grounds are just crawling with people. Hundreds of people, thousands of people. And I heard about this lady who went from the west, from Ireland or somewhere. One of the monks told me. She had a nervous breakdown. Why? She just seeing the crowd. She refused to come out of her room. It's too many people. Yes, I understand that. But look at Sri Ramakrishna's perspective. He sees that one divinity magnified 1,000-fold here. And so joy. Just a footnote to this. Aversion for crowds. Yes, aversion for crowds, it's a good quality to have. But remember the other side, the flip side of it also. Then the 11th verse. We were doing the 11th verse. Adhyātma-jñāna-nityatvaṁ tattva-jñānārtha-darśhanam etaj jñānam iti proktam ajñānam yadato nyathā. We were on this 11th verse. Constant application to spiritual knowledge. Adhyātma-jñāna-nityatvaṁ. There are many things to be said here. I'll just say a few of them and go on. One is, application to knowledge, that means the pursuit of knowledge is very good. But generally it is all other knowledge. What we are interested in, what Google tells us about, what we study about in college, in university. Even if you're studying physiology, the body, it's still other. Even if you're studying psychology, the mind, it's still other from this Vedantic perspective. You are not the body, not the mind. Those are all worthwhile fields of knowledge. The world, the body, the mind, they're all very useful fields of knowledge. But you are not the body, not the mind. The study of self-knowledge or self-realization, adhyātma means the self. It means that witness consciousness. What was earlier talked about as the knower of the field, kshetrajña, at the beginning of this chapter. Dedication to that. So turning inwards towards self-knowledge. Who am I or what am I? Then another meaning would be, application to self-knowledge would be practically what am I supposed to do? The three components of practice in Vedanta, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. To study or listen to Vedanta, systematically study the Vedantic texts, not just casually listen to a few lectures here and there. I heard it on YouTube. Nowadays, shorts, 1 minute to 2 minutes. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I just saw the short on. No. One thing I always recommend is go through texts, text by text. Each text contains the entire teaching of Vedanta. And the entire teaching of Vedanta is you are that, tattvamasi. But each text contains that. And it teaches that in uniquely different ways. So take up text after text. Of course, the Bhagavad Gita, which is worth doing again and again and again. But also other texts, which one might read only once in one's lifetime. But keep at it. Vivek Chudamani, the crest jewel of analysis or crest jewel of discernment. Then Aparoksha Anubhuti, the direct realization of Brahman. Then Drigdrishya Viveka, the discernment of the analysis of the seer and the seen. So many texts are there. So the masters of Vedanta have given us many, many, many texts. Even at the source, the Upanishads, there are so many of the Upanishads. So keep yourself studying those. Remember, you're not studying many things. They're all telling you the same thing. Why are you studying it if they're all telling you the same thing? Shouldn't you say, oh, I know that already. No. It's not for knowing that already. It's to keep your mind immersed in it till it flashes, till it becomes a living reality for us. That I am not the body, I am not the mind. I am the one consciousness in which, yes, the body, mind and the world are all appearing. That liberating breakthrough, I am that should come. Until that, keep yourself immersed in that thought. One of the Shankaracharya composed for monks, one of them is this, Vedanta Vakyeshu Sadaramanta Bhikshanna Matrena Chatushtimanta. Satisfied with what food, alms, you get in alms, a monk, a wandering monk. And the mind ever devoted to Vedantic texts, statements. What's going on in the mind? Delighting in Vedanta. Externally is a wandering, like a beggar, being fed by devout people who give alms, food. So, adhyātma-jñāna-nityatvaṁ. All right, one more thing to be said about this. Literally, it means constant application to spiritual knowledge or self-knowledge. The meaning which I gave just now, that keep on studying Vedanta, thinking about Vedanta, mananam, and meditating upon what you have studied and thought about. Study or the hearing, reflection, meditation. Shravana, manana, nididhyasana. This is Vedanta. However, Shankaracharya in his commentary on this adhyātma-jñāna-nityatvaṁ, he says here, no. Not such a general meaning. What is meant here is, these practices which have been given here, try to bring them into your own life. Constantly trying to consistently trying to embody these practices. That is devotion to spiritual knowledge. That's an important point he's making. He says, take these 20 seriously. We have these, as I said at the beginning, we have these qualities, these practices in our lives to some extent. That's why we are here. What this says is, make it consistent. We don't have it consistently. We don't have it to a high level of excellence. So, adhyātma-jñāna-nityatvaṁ means the other 19 of these 20 practices, the other 19 struggle to embody them in life. Now moving on, the last one, the 20th one. Tattva-jñānārtha-darśhanam. The 20th one, we will be exhausted by now. We have been at it for what? Months and months? These. Yes. So we'll be, thank God it's done. It's not done. We've just read the list. Now we have to embody it in our life. Tattva-jñānārtha-darśhanam. Tattva-jñāna, the knowledge of reality. What is the reality meant here? Very clear. I am Brahman. That knowledge. There is an ultimate reality, existence, consciousness, bliss. And I am that. You are that. The realization of that is what is meant by tattva-jñāna, the realization of reality. This realization of reality, let me just mention here, we had a remarkable visitor a few days ago. He is a scientist at the Institute of Advanced Studies in Princeton, of Einstein and Gödel fame and all of that. So some of the most brilliant scientists work there. So he came and he was telling us the story of his own spiritual journey. He's Dutch. So he said, I asked him, how did you start studying physics? So he said, when I got into college in Rotterdam, he said there was physics and then there was psychology. I said, yes, those are the things which might have psychology or philosophy might have attracted you. He said, no, but I was looking for reality studies. I'm interested in reality. But no one seems to be teaching reality studies. So tattva-jñāna, the knowledge of reality, literally it means, tattva means reality. So the knowledge of reality. What reality is meant here? The reality about ourselves, that we are that. Artha-darśhanam, he says. The result of such knowledge, what are we going to get out of this entire project? We are going to get the overcoming of all suffering, cessation of suffering and attainment of fulfillment. That's the grand project. Everybody wants that. We are just realizing it in all different ways. We are struggling for that, inexorably. You don't have to set it up as your goal. Now my to-do list to overcome all suffering. Vedanta tells us that's all you have been doing from lifetime to lifetime. You might have sought it in money or pleasure or the tamasic person seeks it in sleep and laziness, peace. The rajasic person, the ambitious, dynamic person, seeks it in achievement and wealth and power and getting things done in this world. The sattvic person seeks it in knowledge and philosophy and art and spirituality and all. But we are all seeking it. We are all seeking it. Attainment of fulfillment and overcoming of suffering. That is the result. He says, Krishna says here, keep your mind on the goal. What's the idiom? Keep your eye on the ball? Yes. So keep your eye on the ball is this. Keep your eye on the goal. What am I going to get out of this? When this is clear to us, Shankaracharya comments here, there is a clear motivation to be engaged. Otherwise, it's sometimes not very clear. Worldly things are very clear to us. I'm going to get short-term goals. I'm going to get some pleasure out of this. I'm going to get some money out of this. I'm going to get some Facebook likes out of this. But what am I going to get out of this? So the goal is moksha, liberation. Goal is nirvana. The goal is overcoming of suffering. The goal is attainment of deep, lasting fulfillment. And it is possible. It is possible. That is what we are seeking. And spirituality, all spirituality, Vedanta included, promises that it is possible. This is, we just have to seek it correctly. So he says here, Krishna, that keep this goal vibrating in your mind. Then it will energize your efforts. Shankaracharya says it will energize your efforts. These 20 practices, other 19 practices, will feel like doing them. We'll feel there's a point to it. Also, I've seen sometimes people overthink the unimportant parts, So I'm doing work, I'm supposed to work without motive, but even when I'm working without motive, there seems to have discovered some motives. Is that a problem, Swami? No, for the heaven's sake, stop overthinking. Just do it. Go on. Don't think too much about these little things. I did that, but I felt this way, and then I felt that, and then I thought this way, and I said that. Nobody cares. Stop. That's what's called narcissism. People think being spiritual means being very sensitive and talking about every little feeling, every little emotion, every little idea that one has, every little experience that one has, talking about it incessantly until everybody else is ready to make a run for it. No. I've lived with spiritual people all my life. Last 30 years I've been a monk in a monastery. You'll be, let me tell you, nobody talks about these things. Nobody. And people would stare at you if a monk sat down and started talking about what he felt then and what he thought then, what he said. Nobody cares. They're very hard-headed and very practical people, monks. They'll say, don't you have anything better to do? Yeah. So, tattva-jñānārtha-darśhanam. Keep your eye on the ball. The goal is God, nothing stop of God realization. The goal is nothing short of self-realization. When Vivekananda, the young boy Narendranath, went about Calcutta asking people, Sir, have you seen God? Spiritual teachers, preachers, philosophers, poets. And he comes to Sri Ramakrishna, Sir, have you seen God? And Sri Ramakrishna says, yes. And that's what made Narendranath into Vivekananda. By the way, day after tomorrow is his birthday, 12th January. Yeah? What his goal was, that's our goal too. Whether we know it or not, we are not going around Manhattan asking people, have you seen God? But in one sense, we are doing that. We are looking for answers. What will quench our hearts? What will give us peace within? So, keep your eye on the ball. One more point here. When we think that all of these practices are meant for God realization, moksha, nirvana, it seems to be a long goal, You're playing the long game. It's when will that happen in this lifetime? And often the way it is described, Gita itself, Krishna says, at the end of many lifetimes of effort, the Great One attains to that realization. Vasudeva sarvamiti, that one Brahman, that ultimate reality is everything here. That divinity is everything. At the end of many lifetimes of effort. And we think, yeah, that figures, but that's sort of kind of disheartening. Yeah. But I think I told you there was this remarkable conversation I heard between two monks, two great senior teachers. Both of them are monks. So one of the monks, reported this or quoted this from the Gita. He was saying, yes, Swami, what you are saying is right. But, it doesn't happen so easily. Krishna himself has said in the Gita, in some lifetime, after many lifetimes of effort, it's only in that final lifetime that one gets this realization of one divinity everywhere, and I am that divinity, that freeing realization. And the other monk, who is also the leader of a great lineage, he said, I'm remembering with what delight in his face, what joy and eagerness and excitement in his face. He said, this is that lifetime, this life. Oh Swami, this is that life in which you will realize. In Hindi, the other Swami was saying, Bahunam janmanam ante jnānavan mam prapadyate. And this other Swami said, Yahi wo janma hai Mahatma ji, yahi janma hai. In this life it's going to happen to you. So delightful. Also, let me just add here, if we think that it's going to take many lifetimes, no, even before the final goal of self-realization, moksha, the knowledge of Brahman, the realization of God, even before that, if we practice these practices, our life is going to become better immediately. To that extent, incrementally better. Day by day, we will get more peace, more strength. Other way around. First, more strength, then more peace, and more meaning in life. we'll get it. Our lives will become better. So it's not that there's going to be a huge payoff. There will be at the end of it. But right now, nothing. It's just slogging. That way, it'll snap the nerve of effort. Rather, we will feel it. Day to day, you feel it. I remember when I became a monk, after a few days, it happens to, later I realized, to anybody who's become a monk, a few days, 1, 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks later, suddenly you think, what have I done? What am I doing here? So I asked I didn't have the courage to go to senior monks to say this, to one of the juniors who was far senior to me. I went up to him and said, I don't think I'm progressing in spiritual life. He understood what I wanted to say. He said, oh good, go back home. Off with you, go back home. I said, no, I can't do that. He said, well, think about it. That place which you called home, you were there for 23 years of your life. And within 3 days, you say, I can't go back there anymore. Isn't that progress? I say, yeah, that's good logic. So we make incremental progress. Definitely we do. We are continuously doing that. It just might sometimes feel that nothing's happening. When you say that, all right, nothing's happening, I've been at it for 10 years, 20 years, ask yourself the question, okay, nothing's happening. Let me stop. Let me stop reading any spiritual books. Let me stop meditating. Let me stop going to the ashram. Let me not listen to any more Vedanta talks. Let me just, do stuff in the world. That's all. You will not be able to do that. That's sign of progress. Some people will say that, but I know people who have done that, who have tried, walked on this path and then given up everything. Well, you're seeing only a slice of that person's life. Vedanta plays the long game. You wait. One more lifetime, one more day. Take a look. He'll be back. He'll be back. Vivekananda said half seriously, take your time. Take your time. But take your time is a terrible thing. We do not know what will happen tomorrow. We do not know what will happen next year. We do not know what will happen next lifetime. I think sometimes when I'm sick and then I don't feel like meditating or I don't feel like studying, or I think, of all the times when I was not sick, I was doing quite well and I did not seriously meditate or study. It's a trick of the mind. Oh, it's not so good now. I don't feel good. If I felt good, how I would study and meditate, No, you wouldn't. All right. Etaj-jñānam iti proktam. Krishna says these 20 practices are called knowledge. Why are they called knowledge? But we thought, isn't knowledge realizing that I am Brahman? Yes. But these 20 are called knowledge because without them, knowledge is not possible. These prepare the mind. If the mind is prepared with these 20 practices, knowledge is easy, enlightenment is easy. You'd still have to do Shravana Manana Nididhyasan, but then enlightenment is easy. If we do not do these practices, if we do not focus on these, and we only listen to Vedanta talks on YouTube, then it will be a big struggle. What will happen is, either we won't get what is being said. What does it mean? Or we will, first of all, either we will not be interested. It doesn't make sense. I don't like it. It's boring. It's all nonsense. Second, we'll be interested, but I don't get it. What are they trying to say? Third, I get it, but I can't embody it in my life. I can't live it. These are all symptoms of not having these practices in one's life. The preparations, the qualified mind, the vessel to hold these teachings. There's a fancy, a myth, like a, what do they say this? Old wives' tales, what is the phrase? So in the Himalayas, the monks say this, that the cow's milk can be held in a clay pot, but apparently the tigress's milk cannot be held in a clay pot. It will shatter. You need a golden pot to hold it. Now, I know it's not true, but it's a way of saying that a potent teaching like this, For this, you need the golden pot, the mind, to be prepared. These 20 practices, it prepares the mind. Etaj-jñānam iti proktam. So these are called knowledge because they help in the arising of enlightenment of knowledge. Ajñānam yadato nyathā. The final part of it, Krishna says, think also well about the opposite. Not only think about dharma, think about adharma also. The opposite of these 20. It's worth thinking about. What would life be like if the opposite of these 20 were in our lives? Amanitvam, the humility. Opposite, ego, arrogance. Suppose I'm arrogant. Then adambhitvam, the lack of ostentatiousness, lack of showing off. So, suppose I'm a show-off. What's the difference between arrogance and showing off? Remember, I have some qualities which make me arrogant. Maybe I'm rich or learned or successful, or I have an Ivy League degree, or anything. Could be young or handsome or beautiful, or whatever it is. Or I have lots of Facebook likes, or whatever it is. Something which makes me arrogant based on those qualities. That's arrogance. And suppose I don't have those qualities and I'm still arrogant, about qualities which do not exist. That is ostentatious. And a lot of people, they want to show, they want appreciation so much that we want to show more than what is real. A mature person shows less than what they have. And an immature person tries to display more than what they have. That is ostentatious. Projecting an image. Don't. Some of the most impressive Vedanta teachers, monks I have met in India, not some, the really impressive ones, are the ones who do not look impressive at all. They look like a typical hobo wandering around on the mountain paths. Scruffy, dirty clothes, with a scruffy beard, wrinkled face, and not at all very attractive. Simple, blunt in their speech, but really powerful. I've seen such people. So, not showing off. So imagine, if those qualities were there in our life, those arrogance, display, ahimsa, that the opposite is violence, a predisposition to be maybe not physically violent, but even in verbal, in using harsh language, thinking violently about others. Shanti, forgiveness, the opposite of forgiveness, hold grudges. There's a funny story I remember. Pablo Picasso, he said something very nasty about a critic. And he wrote something very nasty about a critic. Somebody said, why are you picking a fight? That person didn't say anything wrong about your art, didn't say anything bad about your art, but you're picking a fight. He says, exactly, how else do I get creative? He's provoking the other person so that the other person hits back. Now his creative juices start flowing. Acharyopasanam, the respect and reverence for the teacher. Opposite, lack of respect. Irreverence, haughtiness with the teacher. Now imagine a mind like that. Now imagine what Vedanta will be in a mind like that. No good at all. Just won't work. The mind will be too disturbed. It's often compared to a hot pan when you're heating it for cooking. So if you put oil there or water there, what happens? In a flash, water in a very hot pan, it flash and it becomes steam immediately. So Vedanta, the teachings put in a hot mind like that, it flashes and boils off in steam. It won't stay there. The mind must cool down, calm down. Now let us move on. 12th verse. Geyam yattat pravakshami, Geyam yattat pravakshami, yadgyātva-amritam ashnute, yadgyātva-amritam ashnute, anādimat param brahma, anādimat param brahma, na saduchyate, na sad na saduchyate. I shall tell you about that which has to be known, knowing which one attains immortality. It is the beginningless supreme Brahman, which is said to be neither being nor non-being. Some of you feeling warm. Can you switch on that fan? It's right above your head. You can switch on the other fans also. Yes. Change of subject. He says, I will tell you about what is to be known. Why? Let us go back to the beginning of this chapter. Arjuna asked questions, 6 questions. Now, that's also interesting because the questions of Arjuna are sometimes given in the Gita, sometimes not. This chapter is a little peculiar that way. 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes the first verse is omitted. The first verse is a set of questions by Arjuna. Now, the questions, what were they? Kshetram kshetragyam evacha prakritim purusham chaiva kshetram kshetragyam evacha jñānam geyam cha keshava etad veditum ichchami. Arjuna asks, O Krishna, what is Prakriti and Purusha, consciousness and matter, consciousness and nature? Then second set of 2 questions. Jnanam Geyam, what is knowledge and what is to be known? Third set of questions. What is the field and the knower of the field? So 6 questions, 3 sets of 2. And they're basically the same in 3 different forms. In one form, it is field and knower of the field. That's what Krishna answers first. We saw in the early verses of this chapter. What is the field and what's the knower of the field? And we know the field is the body and the knower of the field is this conscious being which we are. And then the whole inquiry starts there. So that's one set of questions. That's done. The second set of questions was, what is knowledge and what is to be known? So asking the same thing in another way. And Krishna answered as practices for knowledge. And now he's going to tell us what is to be known. What remains? 2 more questions. Prakriti Purusha. What is nature, matter, material universe? And what is consciousness? Again, you can see almost the same thing as Kshetra, Kshetragya, field and field knower. Just 3 different paradigms, 3 different ways of asking the same question. But each time it evokes new information, new teachings. Now Krishna is going to answer the 4th question. What is to be known? Of course, we know what is to be known, Brahman, the ultimate reality. The next few verses, Krishna, these are beautiful verses, which describes the ultimate reality according to Vedanta. Vedanta says, Brahman alone is real, the world is an appearance, and you are Brahman. Brahma satyam jagat mithya jiva brahmaiva napara. Brahman alone is real, the world is an appearance. Appearance of what? Of Brahman. And you are nothing other than Brahman. Which means, we are not the body, we can accept that we are Brahman. Yes, in some sense, I could be Brahman, but right now I am the body and mind. He says, no, nothing other than Brahman. You are not body, not mind, not a person. You are Brahman. Also, the reverse is startling. It's true. Brahman is nothing other than you. Other than you, there is no Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, God, and all of that. Nothing. The real you and that divinity are one and the same. That's the teaching of non-duality. The real you, of course, not the person. So, that teaching is going to be given, the ultimate reality. Very beautiful set of verses now. Geyam yattat pravakshyami. That which is to be known. We have studied the practices, 20 practices for knowledge. This will lead to knowledge. What? But knowledge about what? What is to be known? I'll tell you now what is to be known. And he is very strategic. He can be a great marketing manager here in Manhattan. He gives us the result. He sells it to us first. I remember we had this professor who taught marketing in our B school long back when I was a student. And he was a remarkable teacher, a very tough teacher. If you missed a class, you had to take an exam. One class, one exam. So one class was on selling, something like that, I've forgotten. But it became a story, an anecdote in our school, among our batchmates. Apparently, the guy who had missed the class, he was asked to come in for an interview. So the exam would be an interview. And when he entered the professor's office, the professor was sitting in his chair. He tossed him what we call in India duster. It's called an eraser here. What's it called? A board, like you erase what you. He tossed him that eraser, and he caught it, and he says, "Sell that to me now." The point being, whatever I taught in that class, so you're supposed to have got the notes. In those days, no handouts. I mean, we used to have handouts, but it used to be cyclo-styled. So you are supposed to have read everything what was taught, what you missed in that class, and now used what you have read to sell that to me. So Krishna is very, very good at selling. He's going to tell you what you are supposed to realize, what is spiritual realization, what is the ultimate reality, but what will you get? What's the payoff? Yad gyātva amritam ashnute. You will enjoy immortality, going beyond death. Death, suffering. In those 20 practices, remember, janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanam. Contemplate the sorrows of death, the suffering, the sorrow of death, the sorrow of old age, the sorrow of disease, and the source of all these sorrows, birth. So, to contemplate the nature of samsara, the sorrow, the pain and the affliction that is programmed into samsara, into this samsaric existence of ours. A freedom from that, liberation from that, attainment of happiness here and now in this life. It says, Yad gyātva amritam ashnute. You will enjoy fulfillment, you will go beyond sorrow. Krishna said in another chapter earlier, by realizing this, yasmin stito dukkhena gurunapi na vichalyate. Yan labdva na chaparam labham manyate tato adhikam. Centered in which the heaviest of sorrows cannot shake you, gaining which nothing greater remains to be gained in life. That's what you will get if you know this, what I'm going to say. So you can imagine Arjuna is, I'm sold. He whips out his notebook, tell me. I want to know that. Then a beautiful, very profound, these sentences. Anadimat param brahma nasat nasaduchyate. Deep philosophy and deep poetry. He says, Brahman, the vast. Brahman literally means the vast. What kind of vast? Param, the supreme, the transcendent. What that means, we will see, unpack it. Which is beginningless in space and time. Which is beyond the cause and beyond the effect. Literally it means which is beyond the manifest and the unmanifest. That vast, that limitless, we are going to investigate. Emerson, when he read the Bhagavad Gita, he says, not Emerson, right now, Oppenheimer, the movie has become popular. When he read the Bhagavad Gita first time, he read it in the Sanskrit original. He learned Sanskrit from a Sanskrit professor at Berkeley University. And he read it in the original. He was so taken up by it, he says, it is the most wonderful philosophical song in any known tongue. And he was so enamored of it. This is from his biography, American Prometheus. He was so enamored of it, he started giving out copies. I'm sure he became a crashing bore. He started handing out copies of it to his friends. And he always had it on his shelf till the end of his life. And we know the famous anecdote that when he saw the first atom bomb explosion, he quoted a verse from the 11th chapter, which I mentioned it when we were studying the 11th chapter. But the most stupendous philosophical, the most wonderful philosophical song in any known tongue, it's poetry and philosophy together. He encouraged Thoreau, Henry David Thoreau, to read the Bhagavad Gita, which he took with himself on his Walden Pond, when he stayed at Walden Pond. And he says, every morning I study the Bhagavad Gita. Thoreau writes in his diary in Walden, every morning I bathe my intellect in the stupendous philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. Writes so beautifully there. Anadimat param brahma na sat na saduchyate. What does it mean? Brahman means the vast, the limitless. Param, transcendent. The word, each word qualifies the other. So gives deeper meaning. Param Brahma, the transcendent Brahman. What does the transcendent mean? Transcending the limits of space, time and object. Space. Everything is limited in space. So we are here in the Vedanta society. That automatically means we are limited to being here in the Vedanta society. Just because we are here in the Vedanta society, it clearly means we are not in Central Park, we are not in Times Square, we are not at home, we are here. Everything is limited in space, localized in space. If it is here, it's not there. This is called space limitation. Every object, every person, every geographical entity, every astronomical entity is limited in space. But suppose something is there which is not limited in space. What will happen to it? It will become all pervasive. There will be no space where it is not. In other words, that entity which is not limited in space will be everywhere. Right here that means. Logically. It also means, not being limited means not limited in time. Not limited in time means everything has a limit in time. There's a beginning and an end. This class has a beginning and there's an end. Our lives have beginnings and ends. Things are created and destroyed. There is a starting and a conclusion. But suppose something has no beginning and no end. It's not limited in time. What will happen to it? It will become eternal. There is no time when it is not. It's there in all times. Which means it's also there now. Now. Brahman, being not limited in space, not limited in time, must be everywhere. That means here. Must be all the time, every when. That means now. And not limited in object means there is no object, no entity, no object in this universe which is other than Brahman, which is different from Brahman, which implies non-duality, but we will not go into that now. So this is what is the small word param, transcendent, qualifying Brahman. The transcendent vastness. Param Brahma, the transcendent Brahma, the word itself means vast. Transcendent vastness, which is beyond time, therefore eternal, beyond, not limited by space, therefore all-pervasive, not limited by object, therefore non-dual. That Brahman. That word param is now expanded. Anadimat, which does not have a beginning. Which does not have a beginning means here, so didn't you just say that it's beyond time and beyond space? It doesn't have a beginning in time, doesn't have a beginning or a location in space. So aren't you repeating it? Anadimat, beginningless. Here what beginningless means is, it is not caused. A beginning means there is a cause. This whole universe, everything has a cause. This chair we are sitting on, it has a cause. Some materials have been put together by some craftsman with some economic motive. There's a beginning. There are economic causes, there are physical causes, there are technological causes which goes to make this chair. So to our bodies. So to everything in this entity, in this universe. Everything in this universe, you can trace it back to the Big Bang at least. So there is a cause for everything. Anadimat means without beginning, which means without any cause. Brahman is not is not a caused entity. So there is a children's question. Who created it all? God. Who created God? The child will immediately ask. And the answer is nobody created God. So Anadimat means the ultimate reality does not have any cause. And that is further expanded in the next very evocative phrase, na sat na asaduchyate. Literally it means it is not something that exists, it's not something that does not exist. Deeper meaning is, it is not something that is unmanifest, it's not something that is manifest. A deeper meaning is, it is not the cause, it's not the effect. The effect is what is called manifest, what we see in the world, what we experience in the world, it's called the effect. When it's not manifest, when it is in a potential form, it's what we call the cause. Brilliant example is given in Kashmiri Shaivism. The colors, you have to imagine a peacock. The colors of the plumage of the peacock, dazzling colors. And the egg of the peacock. If you look into the egg of the peacock, there is a colorless yolk in that egg. And now the Kashmiri Shaiva philosopher says, all those dazzling display of colors is in that colorless yolk of the egg. They didn't know about DNA in those days, but they're correct, absolutely correct. All the information is packed there. But in that seed, in the egg, in the yolk of the egg, do you see the colors? Do you see the peacock? Do you see the dance of the peacock? Nothing is visible. And yet potentially the whole thing is there. Potentially the whole thing is there. So that egg state, the yolk state, is called asat in the sense of unmanifest, potential. And the peacock, the dazzling display in the peacock's dance and the colors, and that is called sat, the manifest. The first one is the cause, the second one is the effect. The egg state is the cause, the peacock is the effect. Similarly, there is a cause. You can call it the Big Bang. At the Big Bang state, these galaxies are not there. This earth and sun is not there. The elementary fundamental particles themselves are not there, let alone us. And yet potentially the whole thing is there. Because that's going to come over a period of millions and billions of years. So the Big Bang state is called the unmanifest. This universe is called the manifest. The Big Bang state is called the cause. This universe is called the effect. Now, what are you talking about, Brahman, the ultimate reality? Are you talking about this or that? Are you talking about the manifest or the unmanifest? And Krishna says, neither. Neither. The same thing, let me put it in an utterly different language. The language of waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. In Vedanta, the deep sleep is called the cause. Karana. The dreaming and waking is called the effect. The dream is called the subtle effect and waking is called the gross effect. But you, our real nature, Turiya, is the witness of all three. It's not the deep sleep, it's not the dream, it's not the waking. To put it in the language of Mandukya Upanishad, the causal state exemplified in the deep sleep is Maya with consciousness with Maya. It is called Ishvara. Ishvara is cause. The effect state is that same consciousness with the Maya and the cosmic mind. It's called Hiranyagarbha. Maya, cosmic mind and cosmic body is called Virat. That's the effect. The Sanskrit words are very powerful and simple. Karana Brahma, the Brahman in its causal state is called Ishvara. Karya Brahma, Brahman in its effect state is called Hiranyagarbha and Virat. Ultimate reality, Brahman as such is none of these. It is Avasthatraya Sakshi, Turiya, the fourth, the so-called fourth. What's the ultimate reality? Is it Ishvara? Is it Hiranyagarbha? Is it Virat? No. Neti. Not the cause, not the effect. Then what is it? It's the fourth one. Not the Ishvara, not the Hiranyagarbha, not the Virat. Or at the individual level, not the Pragya, not the... I'm sorry to use the technical words, but to explain it will take several classes. Pragya, not the Taijasa, not the Vishwa. The fourth one, the Turiya, the pure consciousness. And that's us. We're talking about ourselves. Na sat, na asat uchyate. Brahman is not the effect, it's not the cause. But one must be careful. Both the effect and the cause are nothing but Brahman. Without Brahman, neither the effect is there, nor the cause is there. The movie is playing on the screen. The movie is in a switched off state. You're not playing the movie. Or the movie is playing, you switched it on. Neither the switched off movie nor the switched on movie. The screen is neither of them. But it enables the display of the movie. So the universe cycles from cause to effect and back to cause again. From seed to the tree, back to the seed. From egg to the peacock, back to the egg again. And then again back to, from cause to effect, effect to cause. But the reality, and this thing is called Maya. And the reality beyond Maya is Brahman, what he is talking about. Na sat, na asaduchyate. It's neither the manifest nor the unmanifest. It sound all very abstract. No, it's you. It's me. Make it very real. How does this apply to me? Notice, what are we? Right now, here is this world. Here is this body. Here are these thoughts and feelings and memories and things to do and things to complain about, things to want. My life, my projects, and all these things to juggle and keep in mind, this very busy life that I've got. I remember I was going in a car with a very senior Swami of our order. He was going to give a talk. I was accompanying him. And the gentleman who was driving us, in Queens, there's this huge cemetery, this huge place with thousands of graves. So we're driving past that. And this gentleman was talking about how hassled he's feeling. He's driving the car and telling the Swami, there's so many things to do and so many problems, this and that, and it's unbearably busy. And the Swami, he said, look there. Many of them thought they were the busiest people in their time, and now they have all the time in the world. Yeah, it's worth looking there. It's a good place for meditation. Very soon, very soon. What Vedanta is saying, that all the time in the world and complete peace of nothing to be done at all, that one is there right now. The one who is experiencing this very busy life, the one will also experience the blankness of deep sleep. Tonight when we fall asleep, nothing. No world, no body, no mind, no things to do, nothing to complain about, nothing to desire. The whole thing shuts down. The one which experiences that shutdown state, that shutdown state is asat, unmanifest. And then when we wake up, the whole thing comes back again. The one which experiences this whole display, the busyness, that one is the common one between them. You are that. That shutdown state of deep sleep and this busy state of waking or even the dreams, they are all appearances in the one radiance which you are. Aurobindo speaks of it. Lovely language. He says, the world drowned in the white glare of an immortal gaze. The world drowned in the white glare of an immortal gaze. What is that immortal gaze? You are that gaze. You are that gaze. We, all of us are, that one light. And then whole of this, it's just fun. Loads and loads of fun. Was one lady, she said to Swami Vivekananda, that American lady, she said, Swami, we are here to learn and develop and grow. This world is like a school. And Vivekananda said, who told you that, madam? No, I do not believe that. I think we are clowns tumbling on a circus ring. And then that lady said, but why do we tumble, Swami? It's because we enjoy it. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. They're coming with the basket. If you've got any questions, observations, yes, there are two here. I'll come to you. The lady first and then the gentleman there. Can you get the microphone, somebody? Yes.
Namaste, Swamiji.
Yes.
My question is on this na sat, na asat.
Yes.
I'm curious, this was so well explained by you for Advaita Vedanta.
Yes.
How would a Advaita person explain this?
In the same
na
way.
Sat, na asat.
Yes, because otherwise, the way it is, literally the way it is put, it will delight the heart of a Buddhist. You know what the literal meaning is? Brahman is neither existence nor non-existence. This sounds like Nagarjuna. Ultimate reality, emptiness. Is it something that exists? He says no. So it's something that does not exist. He says no.
But
So it's something that exists and does not exist? No. So something that neither exists nor does not exist? No. Chatushkoti vinirmuktam tattvam. The principle, the reality which transcends these four options. That's what is being indicated here.
what about a theistic religion? How would Advaita explain this?
How would Advaita?
Dvaita.
They would,
Yeah,
the way I did
theistic.
it. The way I did it. So the whole universe is projected out by Vishnu. This is the Sat state. And then the whole universe is withdrawn by Vishnu into his Maya, into his Shakti. In Pralaya, the universe it collapses back into itself. Only Vishnu exists. That is the Asat, non-manifest state. That's the only way they can. The Advaitin can take it literally and can flow with it. But the dualist cannot take it literally. Because the dualist says that God exists. You can't say it's something that does not exist. That is unacceptable to the dualistic interpretation. The Buddhist is fine with it. Yes.
Sorry, my name is Himanshu.
Please sit. Please sit.
This goes to two or 3 weeks back when say Mai Chananya in Yogena. So it struck me that there Mai Sri Krishna is meaning his physical form. So 2 lines come to my recollection. One is Avyaktam Vyaktimapannam Manyante Mam Abuddhaya. 7th chapter. The 9th chapter is Avajananti Mam Mudha Manushim Tanu Mashritam. So do those 2 lines refer to Sri Krishna in physical form?
Those 2 lines refer to Krishna in physical form. This actually does not. Mai, when it says in me, remember this whole 13th chapter is about Jnana Yoga. So it's an interesting point. What he says, unswerving devotion to me or in me. What is that me? Here me means consciousness. Pure consciousness. But there it refers to, Krishna says that people who do not understand, they think that I am a human being because he's talking about his human form. But there he means he's an incarnation of God. He doesn't, he says, foolish people think I am a human being just like anybody else and I've taken a human birth. I am not like that. So that's the doctrine of the incarnation.
Avyaktam Vyaktimapannam, they believe him to be
manifest in a physical form.
But they are not giving enough value to the physical form.
No, not in that sense. They are thinking he's only the physical form. That he's that person Krishna. Even when you are worshipping avatar as a person, like this suppose, there's a person clearly. But remember, this person is a divine person. Is our incarnation of God. So what lies beyond this or behind this avatar is God himself. That must be kept in mind. You cannot be devoted to another human being. That makes no sense.
It makes a lot of sense to me, but that's all right. It makes a lot of sense to me that physical form is very important.
Yes, it's important for our sadhana. But just to think that Krishna is one more person like us, you're forgetting the divine origin of Krishna. You're forgetting that Krishna is an incarnation. Why are you worshipping otherwise? Why are you worshipping? Are you worshipping a human being? So the incarnation, God is not really born as a human being. It only seems to be so. It does not come with the load of karma that we have got. The Lord does not come as an incarnation helplessly like we are born. None of these things apply to the incarnation, avatara. So avatara is free of the human compulsions, human imperfections.
I thought the whole idea of avatar is to take birth with all the limitations we have.
It does. And takes it upon itself. But the avatara, Sri Ramakrishna says, compares the avatara to a hole in a fence through which you can see the other side. So the avatara always is transcendent. The full limitlessness of Brahman is available through the avatar. That's the beauty and power of the avatar. Unless one knows that, just the attractive personality of the avatar is not enough. One should keep in mind that we are worshipping God in this form.
Thanks.
Otherwise, what will happen is the thing that Hindus are charged with. You believe God is born and God died. No, that's exactly what Krishna is denying. He says, from unmanifest I have become manifest. People are degrading that. They're thinking that I was not there and I've been born. God has become born. God is not born. God remaining as He is, beyond the manifest and the unmanifest, now appears to you as avatar. That's the glory of the avatar. This is the nature of Brahman, what we just said. Now suppose this Brahman, which is beyond cause and beyond effect, appears to you in the network of causes and effects as another person. What could be more amazing than that? This is said about Krishna dancing with the gopis in Vrindavan. The Vedanta Siddhanta Nityari. The ultimate conclusion of the Vedanta, that you are Brahman, is dancing here with the gopis. What an utterly stunning thing. If there can be anything more stunning than the non-dual Vedanta, it's that non-dual reality is manifest as a human being in front of me. If you understand that human being and the non-dual reality of that, we'll also realize it's much easier for us to realize Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman also. Krishna says that those who understand what I am, they will be freed very easily.
Yes, so there is a worldly purpose to avatar too, right?
Yes, there's a worldly purpose. There's many other things that are accomplished by the advent of God. The re-establishment of religion, the uplift of humanity, a course correction as it will, as it were. So avatar always heralds a change in human history. It's an intervention in human history.
And that is due to the physical form.
Physical form and appearance and the historical presence, not just the form, the actions, the teachings, the role that avatar plays. I remember this particular shloka I quoted. This was many years ago. There was a seminar organized by the Sikhs, and it was an interfaith conference. It was on 300 years of Guru Gobind Singh's Gutta Gaddi. That means when Guru Gobind Singh said that there will be no further Guru, the Guru Granth Sahib, the text is now your Guru. So this was organized in Nanded in India. So I was part of that, representing Hinduism. Now in one point in the discussions, the speaker was criticizing Hinduism as distinguishing Sikhism from Hinduism. Sikhism does not believe that God is born. Hinduism believes that God is born and God dies. I protested. I said, look, the Gita says this. And I quoted, he said, no, but Hinduism believes that God is born. No, the secret of the incarnation is this, that God appears to be born. This is exactly what is being condemned by Krishna here. People degrade this idea of the incarnation. They think I am a human being. Manushim tanumashrita. But at no point am I a human being. Although I appear to be a human being for all practical purposes. This is the mystery of the avatar. See, what is the mistake that they are making? They think that the human being is God. No, God is the human being. Not that the human being is God. Yeah. But I didn't press the point too much because they all had swords. Not all of them. The speaker didn't have, but there were some with turbans and swords. So they took a grim view of my pestering them. The gentleman here, yes.
Namaskar, Swamiji. Thank you. I really enjoyed the 12th verse, but my question is regarding the 11th one. The goal, as you mentioned, is bliss and liberation, basically eternal bliss, moksha, and but within that, you also talked about intermediate states, like when we are studying or when we are engaged in our meditations, our life becomes peaceful and much more easier to walk on that path. I mean, this is maybe me, but I don't know. But it seems like it's suffering that brings us to this path. Like, I was having a good life, and I knew there was a Vedantic center here, but it's only certain events which cause this suffering and bring us to question certain aspects of life and pursue this. So, A, is suffering needed? Second, when this phase passes away and life becomes better again, we tend to forget God, we tend to forget meditations. So how can we continue staying on this path?
Yes. So, yes, suffering is needed in the sense that, notice what you said, it led to, you just used a phrase, it led to questions. What suffering really does for us, or which leads to spirituality, it generates the questions in our mind. Why am I suffering like this? And the next question will be, what's the point of it all? Intense suffering. It makes everything seem pointless. And when that question comes, then Vedanta seems to give answers. Spirituality, there is a purpose. And that it also says there's a way out of suffering. Sometimes suffering by itself need not lead to spirituality. People just suffer, brute, dumb suffering, and then they come out of it for some time. So suffering can and should lead to questions, deep questioning about why am I suffering, and then what is the point of all of this life? Does it have a point at all? Is there a way out of suffering? Is fulfillment which I am seeking, is it possible at all? All of these questions. Then Vedanta has the answers. Unless we have questions, Vedanta does not make sense. And the questions become very serious when we have suffering. Otherwise, they might just be curiosity. I've read something and I have those questions and then let me check here. That's also not bad, but that's not really, it doesn't have the power of suffering behind it. Now, when suffering goes away and things turn well again, for temporarily they will. Either one gets used to it or suffering really lessens and life becomes a little better. So when we tend to forget. In the meantime, we must get hooked on God. I can see the benefit of it. It gives me peace, it gives me strength, it explains many things to me, it makes life meaningful, and it gives me joy also. And once I have that, when I'm deriving joy from spiritual life, then I have a source of joy. It protects me from suffering, and it's a source of meaning and joy and peace for me. Now that spirituality then I will stick to in the middle of suffering and in the middle of happiness also, because it's a source of joy for me. It's a protection against suffering and a source of joy for me. To a Swami, one lady, she asked, remember, that Kabir Das has said that those who remember, that everybody remembers God when they are suffering, but in the midst of happiness, people tend to forget God. Those who remember God in the middle of happiness, why will they have suffering? दुख में सुमिरन करे सब कोई, सुख में सुमिरे न कोई. जो सुख में सुमिरे उसको दुख काय को होए. This kind of, I've forgotten the exact language. Now that lady asked, actually for me, I forget when suffering is there, I forget God. It's only when things are all right, things are smooth, then I'm interested in spiritual life. This also is there. Now the Swami's answer was very perceptive. He said, that means the joy which you get from spirituality when things are all right is not from spirituality. You are enjoying things being comfortable and nice. And one of the ways you enjoy it is a talk, a book or something in spirituality. You are not actually getting the joy from that spiritual practice. Otherwise, you would have got that joy in suffering also. You were enjoying life being smooth and comfortable. When once that goes away and the next bout of suffering comes, life is no longer smooth and comfortable, then that joy goes away. You are not getting the joy from spiritual practice. You are getting the joy from the comfortable conditions of life. Now what we must do is get the joy and peace and security. Security. Spiritual practice gives us security, deep sense of security. Whether it's devotion or knowledge. Get it from spiritual practice. It will be available to you in the middle of nice circumstances and when things become rough. Then also it will be available. Then you will quickly run to that. Because now that's the only, spirituality is the only sunshine, is the only light in the midst of gloom. In encircling gloom, that one light is there. And that's what Kabir Das says. It's usko dukh kahe ko hoye. In the midst of sorrows, the one who remembers God. Why will that person have sorrow? What it means is not that why bad things will happen. Bad things will keep on happening. Our past karma is producing it. However, because that person is centered in God, is a life immersed in God, the rain and storm will remain outside. He will notice the bad things happening, will not be shaken by it. Because he is centered in God. You see, in that sense, that person will not have sorrow internally. Externally, problems will keep coming. Yeah. The lady there, so you raised your hand. And one person here raised her hand somewhere. No. Yes.
Swamiji, this crucial shloka 13:12 or 13:13 in other editions about if we read it, Dvaita tradition shloka, so they split differently the third part. They say anadi mat param. So they tell that
which tradition is the Dvaita tradition?
Dvaita
yes,
tradition.
yes.
So I would like to know. So of course this is a crucial shloka because they will say, oh, you see, Brahman is mat param, so he is subservient to Krishna.
So anadi mat. This is a controversial Sanskrit use. I didn't want to get into that. There's a grammatical and interpretative problem here. Anadimat literally means the possessor of the beginningless. The Brahman is beginningless. That's what you want to say. So what they read it as, they shift the mat from the anadi, this is Sanskrit, so they to the param. So anadi, beginningless, mat param, my transcendental Brahman, which transcends me. I am not Brahman. God transcends me. That's the dualistic interpretation, but not Advaitic interpretation. So here beginningless means without cause, beyond cause and effect. The God which you are speaking about, which is mat param Brahma, from an Advaitic perspective, will be the cause of this universe. God is the creator, preserver and destroyer of the universe, is Jagat Karana, cause of this universe. But the Absolute is beyond that. And our identity is with the Absolute, not with Ishvara. With Ishvara, you cannot have an identity. Ishvara, God is the omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, is the ocean. We are like, as individuals, we are like waves. The wave and the ocean can never be the same. But as water, they are one and the same. We'll leave it at that. Yes, there's a distinction, right? All right, thank you so much.